Hello, everyone. We are the Movie Meisters. My name is Kenneth,
I'm Matt.
I'm David.
And I'm Grant.
and we saw Terminator Genisys.
All right, so you remember Terminator 1? We find out that Sarah Connor already knows everything. She was saved by a different good Arnold Terminator in the past from a different evil T-1000 in the past. She picks up Kyle Reese when he goes back in time. They're going to try to destroy Skynet now.
That was very good, Matt.
Pretty concise.
Yeah, I am surprised by how well you were able to do that with
I'm
this one.
glad Matt did it.
All right, well, guys, what did you think of this movie? Feel free to jump in.
I liked it. I've never seen any of the other Terminator movies. Grant briefly explained like 1 and 2. For my first Terminator movie, I liked it.
I also liked it, and I was surprised that I liked it. I really thought I was going to completely dislike it. I found myself entertained. However, I felt that the movie was a little too complicated, and there was a lot of the movie was exposition. I think if you remove the exposition scenes, you really have a really short movie of actual content. I don't think they need to explain to me that thing about the hand palm thing, the whole like the kid looking in the mirror thing. Like I didn't really care. Like if that wasn't in the movie, I felt like I would have been more fine with it. Just get to the movie.
I thought the core plot elements of the movie were good. I think it's kind of a natural way to make a new Terminator movie. You need like a Terminator that's more complicated and difficult to kill than the T-1000. You need a more complicated time travel plotline that messes with the original plotline. So that was all fine. But I really did not enjoy the movie very much because the two main characters I thought were just completely awful. They ruined it for me.
Yeah, I really thought that the actress who played Sarah Connor was a really bad actor. Like every
Yeah.
single line she said, I just
All right, well,
You know who was a really good actor? That Asian guy in the beginning.
the T-1000, yeah. Yeah, he was fun.
Why do you think they didn't try to make him look like the T-1000 from Terminator 2?
Well, they asked the actor to come back, but he said, I have a hip problem, so I don't want to.
But why couldn't they just do computers like they did with Arnold? I think that would have made it more like nostalgic, a little better.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Especially because he's dressed as a police officer and everything. Like
Because they go to such lengths. You, David, never saw it, and it's been a while probably since you've seen Terminator 1, but Kenneth and I saw it recently. It's crazy the amount of detail they go in, like just reshooting shots from Terminator 1. Like the whole thing in the department store and the alley where he meets the...
Yeah.
I remember the shoes going down when.
You're right. I think I would have expected them to do that.
Clearly, the Arnold Schwarzenegger robots come off like an assembly line. Like there's tons of Arnold Schwarzenegger robots, but why do the T-1000s look different, even though they do the same thing?
Well, there's more than... It's just a coincidence that they keep sending Arnold back.
So there's different T-800s that don't look like Arnold?
Yeah.
In the first one, there's a flashback where you see someone who doesn't look like Arnold infiltrating a camp of humans and killing everybody.
Yeah.
But I just assume that when they attach like a ID number to it, that's the exact model.
Well,
it looks like this.
Well, not to get too nerdy now, but T-800 is the skeleton and 101 is the skin on the outside. So 101 refers to Arnold.
Okay. Within the plot of the movie, that makes sense. But however, I feel it would have been more powerful thematically if it had been a representation of the actor from Terminator 2 as the police officer with swords for hands.
Well, let me say about this movie. I went in with very, very low expectations. Other people have called this movie like a Terminator fan film. It's like, oh, what if this happened in the first movie? And that's basically what it is. For me, it's harmless. I mean, I had fun watching it, actually. It's like, there's a lot of silly things. There's some neat action set pieces. It is a completely disposable but fun movie to watch.
Well, it's not disposable because now if they want to make more Terminator movies, flow of the series,
Well, if they wanted to, they could go back to the original timeline and no one would question it. I mean,
I would.
Well,
yeah, it's not like I have such an emotional connection to the events that took place in Terminators 2, 3, and 4 where I'm like angry that those movies didn't happen anymore,
Yeah.
It's kind of fine. Like it doesn't really bother me that they don't exist. It's a kind of a surprising thing.
Yeah.
But to me, I'm not angry about it.
Well, it's a neat idea. I mean, they did it before, and it's not anything new, but it's fun. It doesn't really hurt.
Sarah Connor was a really bad
Yeah.
actor, though. Like, I'm seriously like,
What's so bad about
she
it?
was
It's
like,
fine.
when her delivery, I would like cringe sometimes. I was just like, oh, that was the best take they had.
I think it's the problem is not just the delivery of the lines; it's the lines themselves. The whole
That's
character
what I
is just
corny.
very childish. I guess they're trying to do a contrast with old Arnold because he's supposed to be the father figure. But like when he says, that's a very childish response. Like, yeah, you're right. She's acting like a little kid, and that's not what Sarah Connor acts like.
Yeah.
Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor are very like extremely serious characters. Like they're out to save the world. They're just not going to take shit from anybody. Like
Yeah.
let anything get in their way. These two are just so. God, there's too much like joking and saying stupid shit to each other and like.
Do you think the badass Sarah Connor from Terminator 2, like, okay, like if she, had the knowledge that this Sarah Connor had, do you think she'd be doing so much like identity searching, thinking about like, oh, I have no control over my fate or my destiny.
Well, see,
what
that's
am I
the
to
problem.
do? Do you think that's like a part of her character that was a natural thing to have happen?
I think it's a deviation from the character because it seemed like Skynet is going to happen and I need to do everything possible to stop it. Like I will just ruin my life. She just kind of buckles down and just says,
true.
at any expense, I will just do this.
That's true.
Yeah.
The old Sarah Connor was a selfless person. She just drove around in the desert in a Jeep with a bandana. And
She's like, could you never like say mate again to me, like ever? That's not a line that Sarah Connor would say.
I think do you think theoretically, like if somehow the Terminator 2 Sarah Connor was told by like a wizard that if she had sex with some random guy she just met, that the Judgment Day wouldn't happen?
David,
do you think she would do it? Because I think she would.
Number 2, Sarah Connor.
This Sarah Connor was all more about like, oh, I want to choose who I
Yeah.
love. She's being, Princess Jasmine.
And I guess,
I
you could argue that she didn't go through the same experiences, right? Because she wasn't attacked by the Terminator from 1984. But she was attacked by Liquid Terminator
in the 70s.
when she was 9.
Right.
Yeah, so if anything, she should be more serious than Terminator
Right, she
2.
had quite a while to prepare.
Yeah.
Well, a long time, because she, at the start of this movie, she's been living with the new Arnold robot for like 10 years now.
Right, and he has so much more information about what would be helpful to stop the machines than the few minutes she was talking to Kyle Reese, in the...
That sounds like such a terrible childhood. Like, what do you think that's like, being raised like a robotic Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Like she's trying to
It
teach him
sounds
to
like
be normal.
fun, man.
It's weird how she had him for like 10 years, but he never learned to be more normal.
Like, does he like cook for her like every night and make meals for her, like send her to school? Like,
I will cook for
Have
you,
fun at
Sarah.
school today.
Yeah.
And he seemed really knowledgeable about all these random things. Like, he could like explain in detail about like all these different things about how time travel works and about the thing that made John Connor into a robot. He's just a robot that was designed to murder people. Why does he know so
built a
much?
freaking time machine.
Yeah, he can build a time machine. He's a machine programmed to kill people. How does he know so much about like science?
It is a weird question. I mean, maybe the idea is Skynet has a hive mind, so they all know everything, except he went back in time, so now he's disconnected from it, but that's kind of weird, right? Like, maybe the human resistance would get access to, everything Skynet knows.
Because it seems weird that he'd be so smart. Like, he has all these amazing, like, decision-making skills, like the ability to create a time machine, but at the same time, he can't learn how to, like, make his mouth smile right, like, after 40 years of trying.
It is nice to meet you.
He can build a time machine, but he doesn't know how to like smile naturally. So is it a plot hole that Sarah and Kyle decide to travel forward in time to 2017, and instead of traveling a year or a month before Skynet becomes or before Genisys becomes active, they travel on the same day and only have a few hours to stop it? Why don't they give themselves more time?
Yeah, I thought about that too, yeah.
Yeah, John Connor
Right?
robot, even, he said he went back to 2014, so he was expecting them to go a couple of years back.
Yeah.
And they just didn't, so he just waited for them.
So he, because he's smarter than them.
Why didn't he pick them up on time?
and he was like late. And
Arnold
he had,
was
like, all this
okay.
time to
He had
prepare.
30 years, and his one job is to pick them up at this exact spot 30 years from now, and that's all he has to do.
And it wasn't in the middle of the freeway, it was like in the little painted
Yeah,
lines
he's like-
that you can't drive on, and yet people crashed into it anyway for some reason.
Yeah. Well, they got hit by the car, and they were
But why wasn't he
amazingly
there to
okay.
pick them up? Okay, he's a Terminator, right? He's a robot, so he doesn't need to eat or sleep or do
You
anything.
just stand there.
He
and
could
wait.
literally just be a homeless man, like take on the life of a homeless man and just sit there under the freeway for 30 years and no one would ever say or do anything.
What was he doing before this? Like,
Here, why don't you guys chew on this for a second? Wouldn't it be great? Sarah Connor and Kyle Reese, they show up in 2017. Oh, I blew up Cyberdyne for you.
yeah, that would have been.
Because he could do it.
Yeah, because I think the only reason John Connor knows to intercept them is because he sees like the TV footage of them appearing on the freeway, right?
Right.
Because otherwise, how the hell would he know when Pops is going to attack the Cyberdyne building? He could have just done it any time, and
Right.
that would be it.
Yeah, and he infiltrated them. He said he worked for them as a construction worker for a while.
So yeah, why didn't he take him down from the inside when he had the chance?
It's like some kind of glitch. I don't know.
It makes no sense that he wasn't on time to pick them up. Like that's all. Like his whole life, because they're Terminators. Like their whole life is committed to accomplishing one task, and his task is that 30 years from now you pick them up. Pick us up. Just have a car ready with clothes and pick us up. That's all we need. I like that the whole movie, they have to wear clothes that Arnold Schwarzenegger picked out for them. Like, can you picture him going to, like, Target, like, by himself, and he's trying to decide what would look good on Sarah Connor and what would look good on Kyle Reese? And he picks out, like, this little black leather tank top for Sarah Connor to wear. It's all tight-fitting and stuff, and he's like, this is good for Sarah.
That would have been a good gag if he made like Kyle's t-shirt stupid. It just gives him a look like, yeah, you're wearing this.
You have to wear
That would have been
it
great.
because you don't have any other clothes here.
You guys like that bit? Sarah and Kyle get naked to go in the time machine, right? Then Arnold says, I've seen very little to assume that you can protect her. And he looks down as he says it.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
What's happening?
He's making a joke? All right, sure.
I don't know, how does he understand how to like make jokes and that
think
men
he
are
was joking.
self-conscious about their penis size if he can't smile? Like what?
Yeah,
What?
He was being
confusing.
serious, like it wasn't a joke to him.
Think about this one. Why did John Connor build a time machine underneath Skynet?
He wanted to get a head start to
Because-
Skynet.
because if you have a time
It's-
machine, you're like God. You can do anything.
But it's a bomb that will destroy Skynet forever.
Putting tinfoil in a microwave.
Because they know about microwaves because they're in a dystopian future where microwaves don't exist. Right.
Right,
So they
yeah.
make a
Well,
joke
okay,
about
yeah.
microwaves. So yeah, that was a setup that it would explode.
Yeah.
So why not put it
Did you
like
like
100
that they-
miles away?
Yeah, keep it from Cyberdyne, just in case. Yeah, that's true.
how naturally they set up that there's like liquid metal at the factory that they go to.
Oh yeah, that
It was
was
so natural.
so
Like
subtle.
they just walk by it and they're like, "What's that? Oh, it's liquid metal." But don't worry about that. And they just keep walking, and I'm like, "That's gonna come back, isn't it?" That's gonna be something.
That's liquid metal, but it needs a CPU in order to stay in its form.
So don't. Yeah, it's not anything. Don't worry about it. And then, yeah, the fact that he can be upgraded, like I thought he can't be. Like that's kind of like the whole point of like Terminator 2 is that like he's an inferior model having to face like this advanced model that can change his form and stuff like that. Like he was upgraded like in a matter of minutes, and now he can do that too.
Why did they spell Genesis the right way?
So it's supposed to be like a Web
'Cause it's an
2.0
app,
type
yeah.
of thing. So
Yeah.
they're just
Why did the human crowd like clap when that creepy Genesis child thing came on the screen? That was really creepy. I don't think a real audience would be like, "Oh, yay, that was wonderful."
I think that's a reference to when Steve Jobs unveiled the original Mac. It said like, "Oh, hello, Mac," or whatever, and it talked back to him.
That's an odd thing for Steve Jobs to do.
Let's talk about J.K. Simmons.
He was great,
He's the
but
best part of this
part of the
movie.
movie.
but like he didn't need to be in the movie. He was just like kind of just thrown in, and then he does a good job. It was good.
It would be kind of neat if you went with the three of them to destroy
That's what I thought was
Cyberdyne.
going to happen.
That
Like,
would have
this
been
random
so
old
fun.
man is just going to be with them telling jokes the whole time. Goddamn time traveling robots.
We were all laughing when John Connor was running after Sarah.
Oh,
Connor.
that was just a joke. Give me the detonator! And he starts like
yeah.
just chasing her with his arms like all flailing like a... Come on, just give me... I want to see him like chasing him around like Scooby-Doo or something. Like, you give that to me! Like, it's like chasing him around.
Some of it was intentional, but a lot of it is just not.
Yeah. John Connor was really ugly. Like,
Yeah.
because in Terminator 3 and 4, they got like, handsome men to play
Yeah.
John Connor,
Well,
right?
4, he was Christian Bale.
Right. Christian Bale's a handsome young man.
Yeah.
Right.
Young
now
man, yeah.
They got like this ugly fat man to play John Connor. And so at the beginning of the movie, You know, because I had just finished giving David like a summary of the other ones, so I was just trying to tell David about what a great hero John Connor is. But then when that fat, ugly guy came on the screen, I was just like, oh no, this is the hero? Like, he's all ugly. And I get like later he ends up becoming the villain, but I think it would have still been better if he was handsome.
What's the name of the other guy? His father?
Kyle Reese.
Like in some scenes, he looks slightly fatter than he did in other ones. Like they shot it, they must have shot it at different times or something. I don't know. It was just kind of a weird thing.
You were even noting like in between shots, like one
Yeah.
shot he'd be thin, and the next shot he would look fatter,
Yeah, he does look different.
and then he'd be back to thin again.
Yeah.
You know, to be fair to your comment, Grant, he was a much better actor than Sarah Connor and Kyle Reese.
At the beginning of the movie, when he's doing like this charismatic like speech to get the troops all pumped up for the battle,
Yeah.
he doesn't seem like he's like some noble hero you're glad to follow. He seems like he's just like some businessman, like follow me and invest with my company and they'll all be rich. Like that's what it seemed like. He didn't. He didn't seem like a nice person from the beginning somehow.
Oh.
They just didn't do it.
Yeah, he
right.
didn't seem like nice to me.
Yeah.
I never got that
Yeah.
niceness from him. He could have been nice.
I think he played it mean a lot better than he played it nice, but I
Yeah.
think he should have been good at both in order to make it more meaningful.
I thought it was fine. Because he gestures to all the scars on his face and he says, people are bearing the marks of this terrible war.
I thought that was from when he was trying to do that moonshine, like it exploded in his face. Thought it
Yeah,
was,
like he's
from
just
that.
like a fat drunk.
Yeah, in the fourth movie, they show he got those scars.
Oh.
Not that anyone remembers the fourth movie or anything.
Yeah, I guess not. Does his wife die? Where does wife go? Because in the third and fourth one, he has a wife, John Connor's wife.
Having just said what I just said, this is
Did
another
the
one.
wife die in the fourth one? I don't remember.
No, she was in it, and she was played by Bryce Dallas Howard, who starred in another favorite movie of ours.
She's
But
not even important enough to be mentioned in this movie.
In the fifth one? Isn't that
Yeah.
weird?
this movie is kind of like Jurassic World and Superman Returns, where it ignores the previous two movies because it's like, oh, we want to only connect to the good ones because they do that now.
And I'm not saying that the actor they chose was like he's not a bad actor. He just didn't really sell the role he was playing for me. I don't know. Seemed like a big fat idiot that likes moonshine.
They even asked, like, what are you going to do after all this? He's like, I don't know, drink beer?
That's right. Yeah.
Like, that's what you're going to do?
I admire that actually. It's like I haven't thought about it. I would just like a cold beer.
Like
that's
he doesn't want to
cool.
just like
I'm
be
fine
with his
that.
wife, Bryce Dallas Howard. Like he thinks more about beer than like his wife.
Yeah.
After that
Well-
big adventure they went
well,
through
you-
together, like at the pet store where they escaped or something. Remember from the third one?
No,
Well-
I do not remember that.
She was a veterinarian, I think, right? Was that her job?
Yeah.
Or no, wait, she was a pharmacist, and he broke into the lab to steal drugs because he was injured from a motorcycle accident, right? That's what happened.
Yeah, that's what happened.
She's a pharmacist. Yeah, he marries a pharmacist, and it's not referenced in this movie. Do you think Kyle Reese is going to try to look up John Connor's wife and just check up on her and make sure she's okay? Because, I mean, in the old future, like, she had a husband and was really happy, and now her husband's been taken from her, and he's like an evil robot who died a monster. Do you think you'd look up that person and make sure they're all right? I would. Maybe that's the next
Yeah,
one.
sure,
See
why
she's
not?
like on Facebook, see how she's doing or whatever.
Yeah.
What do
Yeah.
you think about the female lead being kind of like a feminist type of character?
Well,
Like-
if you've seen the other 4 films, you'll see
I
that
haven't.
the
You know this.
Terminator films are full of feminist type characters. All of them.
I don't like the language that says, I don't need to be saved, right?
Yeah, that's what I was like.
It,
Oh,
it,
she's not a
sound, it
feminist.
sounds like she's insisting that she doesn't need to be saved, unsure about it, or it just seems like she's being petulant.
Defensive.
But it should be apparent that she doesn't need to be saved, because that character so obviously does not need to be saved, right? If you've
Right.
seen the second movie.
Yeah, and at the end they kind of did save her. Like John Connor was like holding on to her with a gun to her head, and they had to save her. That happened.
Let's talk about Pops.
Yeah, I like Bob's.
Yeah.
Even though it's apparently not, or maybe it is the same Terminator from the, I don't know.
It
could have been. They never say how he gets there. So.
That's true.
Who sent him?
They deliberately left it up in the air because they want to set up a sequel where they reveal it. Because, they're planning things so far
It was Skynet who sent him back, and he's just playing the long game,
The long con.
Yeah, that's right.
The long
He
con.
knew all this was going to happen.
Yeah.
I like that he doesn't die at the end.
That's the first time that the Terminator doesn't die.
Yeah, and I like that because we've now had I guess 2, because Terminator 2 and Terminator 3, there's like a nice Arnold Schwarzenegger that helps them, but he dies at the end of both of those movies, so it's not the same robot. I like that we can have a consistent Arnold Schwarzenegger character, like the same exact robot.
Yeah, instead of them coincidentally sending the
so
same
that way
model.
they're not like they're not having to play catch up and be like, well, another Arnold was here earlier and he did this for us, so now we need you to do this for us. You know, it can just be like, oh yeah, remember how we all did that together? Well, now let's do something else together.
Well, we are the Movie Meisters. Once again, I am Kenneth.
I'm Matt.
I'm David.
And Grant.
Thank you very much for watching.
Bye.